If you remember last week, or if you weren't with us, we said that a goal is a dream with a deadline. Deadline being the important part. So figure out something that you want to do, and then put a time frame on it. That's the first step. Okay? When you're selecting a goal, there are 4 things that we talked about. Once you know what a goal is, the 4 things in selecting it will be, first of all, it's got to be meaningful to you. All right? If on New Year's Day losing weight isn't important to you, setting that as a goal isn't a really good thing, because you're probably not going to be motivated enough to make it. All right? It's got to be something that to you is meaningful, you have passion for it. That way you'll have the drive to follow through and see it through. It's not easy. Remember, too, that learning these things, it's like learning to lift weights or anything like that. At first, you can only do the little ones. But if you stick with them, all of a sudden you're able to accomplish more and more. So you're just teaching your mind to kind of do what your body does in a workout setting. So be patient with yourself at first, like anybody would to a white belt, whatever it is that you're doing. Step 2, the goal has to be measurable. I have to be able to see it. I have to be able to count it. If I can't count it, I can't see it, I can't tell if we're doing any good. We have a child with 102 temperature. How do we know that? We use the thermometer. The thermometer's got numbers. I can measure it. We give them the medication the doctor says to give them, aspirin or whatever, we give Tylenol. And then we check maybe a half hour later, the temperature's up to 103. Oh, that's not working. We have to try something else and try it soon. Okay? Or, they're down to 99 point whatever now. Oh, okay, so the temperature is... You see how without that scale, there's really no way to tell if what you're doing is actually accomplishing what you hoped it would. Because the idea is, with those numbers, it's kind of like a sort of a follow the yellow brick road in front of you. You know how to just follow your way around and reach that goal that you're working towards. All right? A lot of families come in and their children are timid or they're shy. I don't know what that means. What is timid? I hear my child's impulsive. What is impulsive? My child he's very agitated. What does that mean? You see, those terms aren't real good ones to set a goal for because they're not countable, they're not measurable. It's going to be really hard to tell if what we're doing is making it any better. All right? So instead of shyness being a concept, how about if we say, let's count the number of times that Sarah hides behind her mom when a stranger talks with her. We can count that. We can observe it, we can count it, we can even have somebody off on the side with a checklist and just does a tally every time that happens. So we can begin seeing how often it's going on, what we got to do to fix it. Same thing with reading. A lot of times reading is I know such a challenge for some of the younger ones today. But you can't just improve your reading. That's too general. All right? How about, all right, I'm going to read 3 books. They're going to be 100 pages each, and I'm going to have that done by July 15th, or your birthday, or the next holiday. You see, when you put a time limit in there, you've got numbers that you can count and figure out how you're doing. It makes achieving the goal an awful lot more doable. Third thing, the goal is going to be realistic. If you have never lost 10 pounds before in a 2-week period of time or a month, don't set that as your first goal, because you're probably not going to get there. Set something more realistic. What about 5 pounds or 6 pounds? That's it. A lot of times, too, parents come in and, of course, you want your child's behavior fixed right now. Even though it took 6, 7, 8 years maybe to get to the way it is, why can't it be fixed right away? Because that's how behavior works. It takes a while for the behavior to become the way it is, and it's going to take a little bit of time and patience to fix that. So you have to set goals that don't have you reaching too far for something, because if you keep, and so many people do this, we set goals that are just outside our reach. So we just fail every single time we try. Well, lower the goal a little bit. Set it to something simple that you know you can do, or that your child can do. You get the benefit then of seeing something actually achieved. And then once you've got that in your toolbox, it's easier to set the next goal. And then easier for the next one, and so on. Realistic goals that are measurable. And finally, the fourth and the last thing is it's got to have a time frame. If you're going to lose weight, how about I'm going to lose 10 pounds by February the 15th? Mark it on your calendar, stick it on the fridge. You can see it every time you go by. Keep thinking about it, keep remembering it over and over again. And you'll find yourself doing things, and you may not even be aware of all of them, that will begin moving you in that direction. That's where it's got to be meaningful to you. Because remember, the mind is going to work whether we're awake or whether we're asleep. Right? Maybe you're trying to solve a problem at work, and in the middle of dinner you go, you got it. You weren't thinking about it. There's the answer. Because if it's meaningful, if it's important, your mind keeps working on it. So the answers can come just about any time. All right? So the 4 things that we talked about, the 4 things to sum that all up, the goals need to be meaningful to you. Okay? They have to be measurable. You've got to be able to count it and see it. They've got to be realistic. Don't stretch out too far at first. Just far enough, just for what you need. And then set a deadline. And when you put those things together, all of a sudden, selecting goals and starting to work towards them is not that difficult a thing. But like anything else, let yourself be a white belt at it for a while. Don't expect to be a brown belt or a black belt at goal setting or anything else that you do until you work up to that. Let the belts here and the way the kids go through them be sort of like a template that will help you to see what takes a little while to get to that level of skill, no matter what it is. And if you're patient enough with you, the white belt will always become the black belt by just learning how to deal with each little challenge that comes along.